Have you ever wanted to make amazing Roblox thumbnails just like this? Well, I have my thumbnail designer here, my friend, OWEST, and he's gonna show us exactly how he designed some of these amazing thumbnails that have gotten up to 500,000 views, such as on this video right here. You're gonna see from start to finish exactly how he makes these viral thumbnails and how you can do the same thing to help grow your Roblox YouTube channel. We're just gonna start in Roblox Studio, which is where you'll make the background, and yeah, you can go ahead and start and we'll see your process.
What a lot of people don't do is they don't go into Roblox Studio first. They usually just go straight into Blender. I'm not about that, okay? I think that going straight into Blender, waste of time, and also it's much more difficult. You'd have to use other people's stuff, other people's presets, other people's project files. I like to do everything myself. So we have a blank base plate right here. Now you do need one plugin for this, the load character plugin. Once you get this plugin, you just type your username into here and then you're done. SmartyCar23. I'm gonna spawn his character in and then I'll show you what I do. Now for some reason, attachments show up on regs, so what I do is I delete the attachments, but this will also delete everything else. So just make sure to
Quick tip, you can go to model and you can actually hide the attachments.
Did I not know
You don't have to delete them. You can go to model. Boom.
How did I not know? Alright, so here I have the character, but this is a very boring position. So basically what I'm thinking of is making Smarty paint the thumbnail, in the thumbnail, like in thumbnail inception basically.
Cool.
Now, Smarty, you're right-handed, right? You paint with your right hand?
I'm normal.
Okay, you're normal, alright.
Sorry, left-handed people. Not sorry.
That would insult.
Wait, or are we sorry? I don't know.
Don't cancel me in the future. Alright, so now what I'm doing is just positioning the arms to be in the right spot, you know. Making sure to get this positioning perfect. The positioning is very important because if you have bland positions, people will just think, oh, this guy sucks, let's not click on his thumbnail. So right here is what I'd like to call a bland position. This is like really stiff. The way I rotate and move these limbs is I usually select with the Alt key, holding it, and then selecting all the parts that I want to move. There's 4 buttons up here. You won't need to use the scale tool or the select tool. You can just use the move or the rotate tool because they work just like the select tool. Except you have an option to manipulate where the limbs are. Now you don't have to select all of the body parts at once. You can just select one body part by holding Alt and then, rotating it. Now obviously I don't want to do, all of that right now. Now a really important part of this is giving the character expressive positions, okay? If there's not really, anything expressive, people won't really be too interested. Also, holding Alt and selecting doesn't really select hats, so you kind of have to, go into the model tab and select the hats yourself. It's a really stupid thing that Roblox just doesn't care to fix. Make sure to select all the hats or else it'll look weird. This is just a really stupid thing with Roblox Studio. Right now what I'm doing is basically just giving this character more interesting positions. Nothing too crazy. Now I'd say this is pretty good. The camera angle is also very important, almost as important as positioning the character correctly. You can have a character that's just standing there, just standing still, but with a good camera angle, a good FOV, good lighting, it looks amazing. Now one thing I like to do is I like to find the humanoid of the character you inserted, change display distance type to none, so that they can't see the little name that pops up here, because it looks really bad in the thumbnail and also looks incredibly unprofessional. And also what I like to do, I like to set the base plate to neon green, and then usually setting it to grass or something. See, this already looks pretty bright and vibrant. But another thing I like to do is make sure that the model is facing the sun. Just so that the whole model is lit up, that it's not covered in shadows, and then you have to change that in the lighting. And then you have to change that in post. It looks really bad. Another trick I have up my sleeve is changing the field of view. If you go to workspace, then camera, then field of view, you can set this to basically anything you want. It just kind of changes how far zoomed in or out your camera is. But a low field of view makes your camera look very cinematic. This is what the thumbnail would look like with 70 FOV, and this is what it would look like with 30. Much better, I'd say.
Yeah, and that I would like to add, that is really why, if you do it this way, it works to make them in studio. It looks good. It looks much better than if you just took a straight up studio screenshot. You might even be able to pass it off as Blender with enough effects like you're going to do soon.
That's why a lot of people don't use Studio, is because they're like too scared that it's going to look not professional enough. But they just haven't changed the FOV or haven't added any effects. It's kind of their fault, really. Go to View in Studio and click View Selector and turn it off. I didn't realize that until now. Now to take this creation that we made in Roblox Studio and put it into Paint.net. Hold the Shift, Windows, and S buttons all together. You'll see Draw Shape to create a screen snip. Basically just trying to get as close as possible to the edge. Now if you go a little over, it's fine. You can usually fix it. Here's how you get Paint.net. By the way, it is completely free. So don't go to the website Paint.net. It's not good. Don't do it, okay? They probably will give you a virus or something. Go to www.getpaint.net. Very confusing, but yeah, just click this link right here. If you search up Paint.net, you can probably find the link. Now, I am using an older version of Paint.net, but you can use this version of Paint.net, and it will probably work just as well. Once you click the download button, scroll down here to the .pdn. Just click this whole box. It'll take you to the download page. Once you make it here, click the free download now button, or the blue link below that anyways. This text doesn't do anything. So basically, once you have it, you want to click extract all. Now you do need WinRAR or 7-zip for this, but I'm going to be using WinRAR for this video. Click extract. Now you have the file right here. You can open it and you can also use this. Anyways, here's Paint.net. This is a slightly older version. This is just the version that I use, Paint.net 4.0.7, but it's pretty much the same. Now once you first get into Paint.net, what you want to do is you want to click the new button in the top left, 1280 width, 720 height. I don't really want this, but it doesn't really matter because once we press the paste button, we'll get the image we got from Roblox Studio. Now you can position this. Now usually what I like to do is the second I put a thumbnail into this, I usually turn up the saturation just a tiny bit. Here's a before and here's an after. It just looks much better. Sometimes I change the brightness and the contrast, but I don't really think I need to here. It already looks pretty good. You can fix it up anyways, whatever. Now looking at this thumbnail, it's missing a lot. It's missing a lot, okay? It's just Smarty standing on a blank background with green grass and a blue sky. Nothing really going on. Now what I want to make this is Smarty painting a canvas of a thumbnail. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to look for stock images. Yes, I'm not creating these myself. Canvas PNG. Now you can look at a lot of these, see which one's your favorite. A lot of these are very cartoony and I don't want those. This one right here will do. Just right click and click copy image. Go back to Paint.net, press the add new layer and just paste it in. Now to resize this without it looking all wonky and whatever, click on any of these little dots on the sides. You can resize them from that point. I'm going to make this just a little bigger. Also, another trick you can do is you can slide it so far back and then back here so that it just flips it. There are other ways to do this obviously, but this is just the way that I do it because it's really quick. Now instead of using the one that already has a canvas here, I'm just going to use the blank one. Now the reason being is that I'm going to use one of my own thumbnails for this. It's basically going to be Smarty trying to pretend that he's making my own thumbnails while I'm making a thumbnail for his video. Kinda crazy. It's like copyright inception. Let me find a thumbnail that I made. Oh, perfect. This one. Anyways, just click once. Click the copy button. Press the new layer button over here to add a new layer so that it doesn't just interrupt what you have before. It's a good habit to, get into this. And scale this up like so, holding the shift key. Also, if you click slightly outside, you can rotate it like this. Looks like you slapped an image on, which is basically what you did do, but there's a way to make it look, not like that. I had the plugin just to fix that. This is the Outline Objects plugin. There are several plugins like this out there, okay? It's not too hard to find. With relative ease, you can find a plugin like this. Basically, you can change the width and the softness. The softness makes it kind of glowy. And now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, that's how people do it. Yeah, this is how people do it. Changing the softness and the outline makes the thumbnail look amazing. Makes pretty much everything look amazing. Also, another plugin to just add more realism is the Object Shadow plugin by BoltBait. This is the one that I use, making the shadow strength weak and the shadow radius somewhat large. You can make a little bit of a shadow down here. Now, it does look kind of weird when it, sticks past the little canvas holder thing that we have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select around the canvas, or the actual thumbnail itself. Just slowly erase the shadows so that, they only go over the canvas. And now you might be noticing something wrong. Why is Smarty's hand being covered by the thumbnail? Well, that's a great question. Well, I'm glad you asked. Basically, what you can do is you can select and deselect these layers, make some of them invisible. What I like to do is I like to make this layer invisible, just kind of use the lasso tool and, try to select the hand to the best of your ability. Now, Smarty is a pretty bad example because his character's blue and the sky is blue. So most characters won't have this problem. You can usually just use the magic wand tool. But Smarty's character is just the unfortunate exception. See, it already looks so much better here. Now you might be thinking, why is he just pointing to this thumbnail that he didn't make? Well, because he's a plagiarist, but also because I forgot to give him a paintbrush, which is, what you use on a canvas. Here's an image I found right here. Click the copy button. Right click on it, click copy image. Go back to paint.net, click the add new layer button, drag this new layer up above everything else. Click the paste button. Now this is way too big. Hold shift and click one of these little nubbins right here. I don't know what these are called. You can just keep holding shift and shrinking it, and then clicking on the outside just to bring it back in because it's still technically the image's box. It's still technically the image. Hold on. You click effects, click flip horizontal, and it just flips the selection horizontal. If you're not selecting anything, it flips the whole layer that you're on horizontal, which, I'm selecting something, so that's why it's not doing that. Now, another thing you can do is you can go to the object outline and then crank the softness all the way up. Make RGB go all the way to 0, meaning it's black. And it gives a nice contrast. You can see the difference between the paintbrush and Smarty's hand. Select like somewhat of a box, click the move selection key, not the move selected pixels. The move selection and the move selected pixels are different. Find this little rotate thing on the side of your cursor. Usually hovering around the box is how you do that. Moving it to position. Click the move selected pixels because this moves the stuff you select. This is the right button now. Now just move it closer in. I'd say that's about good. Now you look really closely, this is a little messed up, so what we can do is we can, get a really small brush to just kind of, fix this up a little bit. And also at the same time, you're viewing this from thumbnail size, no one's gonna notice. But I think, going off of that, that's not a really good way to go off, because then you'd start making bad quality thumbnails. And then you look, kind of close and are like, oh, what's that right there? But for this case, it's Smarty's watching me do this, so I'm not really scamming him, am I? Now there's something that seems a little off about this, it doesn't really pop from the background. And I have a reason for that. Now what you want to do is you want to click this, the shapes key. Basically it has like a square, a circle, and a triangle. Change this to ellipse. Click this, make it red and blue, the shape draw fill mode. So basically it fills in whatever it selects. You can also do this by having the shape draw fill mode and then setting the brush width to be massive. This works too. I don't recommend it because it's just kind of useless when you can do this. What you want to do is you want to add a new layer and drag this layer below what you want to give a shadow. Go right here, draw a circle. Now take this little ellipse you made. You can, drag this, scale this however you want. But take this and put it underneath what you're trying to shade. Now for this instance, it's trying to be this canvas right here. Click the blurs tool and then click Gaussian blur. I think that's how you pronounce it. Gaussian blur, I don't know how you pronounce it, but basically radius makes the shadow a lot more blurry. Makes the shadow a lot more shadowy, Now you might be thinking, this thumbnail doesn't look like this thumbnail. Am I clickbaiting you? No, I'm not. Now let me get rid of pretty much every single layer. I'm not getting rid of them permanently, I'm just hiding them. Basically click these boxes to hide layers. I can have certain layers show up, like this one. This looks really weird. Same with just the canvas, kind of strange, and also just the shadow for the canvas. Now a method that I like to use in paint.net is it's very hard to select characters, okay? It is. But that also is what comes with the free software, But it isn't really that difficult, you just kind of have to find workarounds. What you can do is you can select the magic wand tool and select the background. Now you might be thinking, oh, it also selected a little bit of the character. You can change this tolerance slider. The higher tolerance meaning the more it selects, the lower tolerance meaning the less it selects. Now you don't always have to do this in one go. You can click the add in parentheses union select, and you can select it multiple times to select multiple places. You can also change the tolerance in multiple places. It doesn't have to be the same tolerance all the way around. Honestly, a lifesaver. And this is a very simple character, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Now I'm going to select the green grass as, most of Smarty's character isn't necessarily green. Now, I like to click the copy button, create a new layer, paste the background on top of this, Go back to the old layer, and then erase the background. Now you might be thinking, oh, that did absolutely nothing. No it didn't. Because now we have the character that we want. Move the character all the way up to the highest layer. Now what you want to do is click this object outline that I've already used, set it to black, set the softness all the way to 0, make the width relatively smaller, doesn't need to be absolutely massive, click the effects, click the object outline again, make it a little bigger, make it white. You can make it have softness. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to do something else to make the character stand out a little more. Click OK. And then one more time, click the object outline. Set the color to black, keep the width at what it is, and then crank the softness all the way up. As you can see, it leaves kind of like a little shadow. Now this doesn't really look too amazing, but if there's something in the background that's very important, like everything, because there's a lot in this thumbnail, it adds some contrast. Very little, but it matters. Now, scratch the little shadow on this drawing. I put a little object shadow on the bottom of this. I don't actually like that. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna click object outline, make it a lot wider, set the softness to 255, absolutely maximum. I have yet another thumbnail to use for this. This is an actual, smarty thumbnail, so you've probably seen this before. This is one of my best performing thumbnails I've ever made for anybody ever, so here's the thumbnail in question. Click the copy button, go back. This one contrasts a lot better, okay? Like, you can tell that this is not a part of the background. Now outline object, set it to white, set the softness to 0. And then create another outline object, set it to black, and then set the softness all the way up to max. You could adjust the width to add more depth to it, I guess. But this red paintbrush is taking up a little too much space, so I'm gonna set my brush to hardness 0, meaning that it's very soft. And I'm also gonna set the brush width to 275, just so I can make the paint ease out a little bit. And now it covers up a lot less of the thumbnail, but you can still tell what it is. Now to put text on the screen, you need to click the text tool and just click anywhere. And then start typing. You can also change the font and the font size. Also make it bold, italic, underline, stroke. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now let me make this text just a little bit smaller so you can see it. Actually, I'm gonna move this text above everything because, it's important. Also, I made the text color black, which doesn't really look good. So I'm going to click the invert colors in the adjustments, which basically just inverts the colors, and the opposite of black is white, so makes it just change to white. Now what you can do is click the object outline again. I don't know if you can tell, but I really like this tool. It just really works. Set the outline to black. Go back out here. You can scale, angle this. It really looks good once you angle this. It looks like it's kind of like popping out at you. Make the 500K stick out, but not the views. What you want to do is you want to click the magic wand, hold Control, and just select basically all of these. Actually, you don't have to do that. You can just click the add union thing up here, which was already selected. I can't believe I didn't do that, but well, oh well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to a sort of bluish color. I'm going to drag this down, set a little bit of a gradient. I'm going to select the top part of this with the rectangle select, scaling this, changing this with the rotation thing by just hovering outside the box again. It's kind of weird how rotation works, so you just kind of have to hover outside the box, but now selecting the top half, what you can do is you can change the brightness and contrast, which makes this little line right here kind of giving it like this little shiny effect. Now you can go a little more extreme with this, which I might actually do right now, going like more brightness and more contrast. Now I would do this before you place the outline because it also kind of changes the color of the outline. If you don't turn the contrast up high enough, it really messes with it. Now you can get this sort of like double gradient thing. It looks like you copied and pasted the same gradient, but that's not what you did. It looks really nice, although it looks all shiny. Another method you can use is you can select all of these again, and then you can go to the Effects tab, and then the Objects tab, and then the Bevel object, which is a plugin by BoltBait. This guy makes a lot of good plugins. There's a lot of settings here like depth and strength. What I like to do is I like to set it with a pretty low depth and a pretty high strength. I think, the 3D effect looks alright. Sometimes it doesn't look the best. Right now it looks alright though. Different colors? Well, I have a perfect tool for that. Go to the Adjustments tab, click Hue and Saturation. Set the saturation back to 0 if it was at something, which it probably was, because you don't want to change the saturation of it because, you know, it looks really weird when you do that. Just set it back to 100, which is default. You can change the hue to make it pretty much any color. So if you pick a color and you don't like it, well, you can change it back. I have a way to make this 500K pop out even more. What you can do is you can select the 500K with the lasso select tool. You know, just select around this. Go to the effects, click object, you know, our trusty save your object outline. You know, set the width to be kind of small. What you want to do is you want to set it to white first, so that it looks like a real glow. And then go back to the object outline and then change it to a different color. So it has like a white glow, but also like the color glow around it looks really nice. See, look. Looks kind of like a neon illuminated effect. Also, I messed this up because regardless of what you select, it still kind of like determines what to select based on what's outside of the selection for like outlines. Really stupid. Whoever made that plugin did not really think clearly, but you know. Anyways, the 500K pops out pretty well. But I do have one last, you know, Hail Mary if it doesn't look good, is the glow tool. Basically, this makes it like very like bloomy neon. This is kind of a last resort. It makes everything a lot more glowy, which, you know, a lot of people do like that. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad. It kind of blends these characters in together, which looks pretty good. From here, you can't really tell too much, but honestly, now I kind of want to change this hue. It might look better with a different color, because like, oh yeah, look at that. I mean, like, red pops, green pops, literally everything pops. Also, another thing you can do is you can go to the Objects tab, go to Object Shadow, set the shadow strength to really high, set the shadow color to black, set the shadow radius to very low, and you could set the, you could set where the shadow is to be just slightly below all of the text. This gives it just a little more pop. What I was thinking is making this smaller, and then moving this little easel. Hold on, I have to get another picture. I just copied it to my clipboard. I didn't save it. If you want to keep a picture, if you want to use a picture multiple times in your thumbnails, make sure to save it and not just copy it to your clipboard. Because that's what I did, and yeah. I keep losing a lot of my images. Alright, we have the image that I had originally again. Paste over, scale it, right where it needs to be. As we know, Effects, Object Outline, my favorite tool. Set softness to 0, set the width to about, it really depends, I mean, you know, it really depends what your resolution is, you know, the highlight won't always look like this, or the outline anyways. It really depends on the resolution because it's from pixels and not like percentage of the screen. Also, set another outline, make it black, make it all the way soft, you know, make the width pretty big, just so that it stands out more.
Turn down the saturation on the thumbnail, and then turn it up, yeah, and then I would turn, well, just slightly, maybe not that much, and then I would turn it up on the 500K, and I would try turning that red. Then it'll pop more.
Alright. That just makes the outline look really weird, though.
Well, try making it red.
Like that?
And, yeah, bright, like the old red that was in the thumbnail before it was desaturated, almost.
Oh, well, I mean, I did this in a different way.
Gotcha. The yellow doesn't look half bad when we do this. Now that we're adjusting it.
Yellow? Where's the yellow? Like there.
See, I almost like the yellow. I would leave it like that, and then I'd rotate that down. I'd rotate that to like down from the right side. I'd rotate the whole thing slightly the other way. You know what I mean?
Like this?
Yeah, not so much,
Just like this?
but just a little less. I'd rotate a little.
I know
a
there's
little
like
less.
A little. Well, I mean, you just want me to like have it like that?
Almost, but slightly rotated still.
Like that?
Yeah, except off the corner.
Like.
Yeah, like that.
Okay. Well, I have to fix this little. Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna fix this.
Maybe change the background sky. I like that color. Change the sky. It might make the whole thumbnail pop more. It looks weird. It doesn't match. Maybe change the sky color, honestly.
I'm just gonna get an image of like a default sky, like an actual sky, like an Earth sky, and not like a Roblox sky.
Yeah.
I think that might look better. Alright, I have this sky image right here. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the sky in the background. I'm going to erase it, and then paste in the new sky. I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit because obviously it's bigger than 720p. 720p is like the ideal thumbnail size anyways. Honestly, I'm gonna redo this text. You know, I'm gonna redo it. So I think starting brand new is probably the best way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add a blank black background with softness of 0 and a width of 20. I'm gonna go very light on it, okay? I think I went a little too crazy with the colors. It is just a thumbnail after all, and a very small part of the thumbnail. I think like green. I'm also gonna do that little technique from earlier that I showed you with the brightness and contrast, turning that up, giving it this sort of double gradient effect, making it look shiny. Also selecting these, and then adding the bevel object. I'm gonna make it like a little deeper and a little lighter this time. What if I use the glow effect? Ooh, alright. This doesn't look bad. I'm gonna angle this a little bit so it's a little less boring. It's kind of boring right now. There we go. Okay, I'm just taking the stroke off his character because looks a little too much. Alright, set the object shadow to white. Move this to the front of your character. Or just somewhere around your character so it kind of gives it like a shadow effect. Like not a shadow effect, if that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. It might make sense, but I don't know. Anyways, set the outline, make it kind of soft. And it has this little sort of like light effect around it. Flamingo uses this technique a lot. It's not this exact technique, but it's pretty close. And let me change the color of this text one more time. I still don't like it. Honestly, I think pink, like, might be a winner here. Actually, oh my, man, this is not fun. These small details in thumbnails are like my least favorite, by the way. I'll go for green. And I mean, yeah, I think this looks amazing. I could add a little bit of like a pop. Let me get rid of like the little drop shadow that this has because of the glow effect. Let me make a white outline. Make it just a little soft because it's kind of like weird because of the selection. Click the object, go to object shadow. Set these both to 0. And then kind of just drag these where you want them to be. Make it darker. Don't make it like absolutely black as a white outline, so just... Also, one more last very low width, high softness outline. And honestly, there's not really too much else I can do with this. I'd say this is pretty good.
Great job. Thank you for showing us your process. And yeah, we're going to continue to see these great thumbnails coming out on the channel. Yeah, any last things to say? I guess you can promote your channel now. Make sure to subscribe to him, guys.
Subscribe to me. I'm OWESTRBLX. I make like all types of Roblox videos.
You know what? I would agree so much that I'm going to put you on the end screen. So if you want to watch, you can go ahead and click on screen, and you can watch the video that we just made together, racing each other in Pet Simulator X. You can go see that right here, and you can see us playing that together. Hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next video.